What's up, YouTube? Today we are doing a Hollow Knight Silksong boss ranking video. And for those of you that didn't see the last video, we essentially ranked all of the original Hollow Knight game bosses after I beat the game. And recently we did the entire playthrough of the sequel series, Hollow Knight Silksong. And it was fantastic. It was amazing. I absolutely loved the game. I loved the journey. I loved the bosses. I loved so much about the game in general. And all of that is on YouTube. There's even a video where I showcased fighting all of these bosses for the very first time. Or not fighting them, but like beating them for the very first time. It was an incredible experience. I really, really enjoyed it. And I thought, why not do a follow-up video with all the bosses from Silksong? Because that other video seemed to do pretty well and you guys seem to like it. So why not do another one? So without further ado, let's get into the ranking. And before we do so, I guess I just want to preface the entire thing by saying this is incredibly subjective, but also this is not going to be based off of how difficult the boss is, because one, that's also subjective, but two, I feel like a lot of people have already ranked like who's the toughest boss, and usually it's the Act 3 bosses, which is probably true, but I think what I want to do, which is what I did for the first video, is I'm ranking them based on how fun I had fighting the boss, which sometimes there is an element of how difficult it was and how satisfying it was to beat them, but overall it'll be more so how much fun did I have fighting them. And so without further ado, let's get into the video. So I just want to come right out and say, let's fill out the did not fight category, because there were a couple bosses I have not fought yet, and that is the Summon Savior, which I know is a Steel Soul only boss. There's Garmon and Zaza and Chakra, which were both optional bosses from Act 2. I literally thought I did everything in Act 2 and did not realize these were optional fights you could have done. But I did not fight any of these guys, and I probably will eventually in some playthrough. I'm doing a Steel Soul now, so maybe eventually I'll get to Summon Savior, but right now these are the three I did not fight, so I am not ranking, and they're just going in this category. So with that being said, let's get to the actual bosses. Moss Mother. So Moss Mother, I just want to put right in C tier. I mean, Moss Mother, let's be honest, is Vengefly King with a little bit of environmental hazards. It's nothing crazy. It's very good first boss in my opinion. I think the thing that I really love about Silksong is that it's not as Metroidvania as Hollow Knight. Like, it very much guides you to go a very certain path. And Hollow Knight, I feel like it's very easy to get lost in the Forgotten Crossroads, whereas Silksong, there's only one way you can go, and it's to Moss Mother. So I think they do a really good job of that and made it better from the original game, because a lot of complaints I see online of Hollow Knight is, I got to Forgotten Crossroads, I've been here for like 3 hours, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. And that's fair, that's valid, I get it. It took me a while, and honestly, once you get past that, it gets a little bit more sequential, but overall, not so much. And it's definitely more like progressive in this game of going from one boss to the next to the next. But yeah, Moss Mother, generally pretty easy fight. It's the first boss. If you played the original game, you probably did not struggle with this boss at all, even with the new movement set and the pogo. I think overall Moss Mother isn't too bad, but also I don't think she's super fun. I'm also seeing that her other two variations aren't on here, the Voided Moss Mother and the like dual Moss Mother. So I think the dual Moss Mother, you could argue, is slightly more fun and a little interesting. So maybe a B tier situation. It's kind of like the Vengefly King in P5. But overall, I would give Moss Mother a C tier. I just think that's what she deserves. Next is Bell Beast. Bell Beast, I think, deservingly is a B tier. I think it's a cool character outside of the boss fight because it becomes the last stag for Silksong. It helps you get around Farloom, but overall the fight is kind of Moss Charger-y. Like, I don't think there's much besides the Moss Charger, and again, environmental hazards. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest, actually let's talk about Lace right now too. Lace I would also give kind of a B tier, probably above Bell Beast, but it's essentially Hornet. Like, these first three boss fights left me with a lot to be desired, and overall I think I just kind of was like, oh, this was Vengefly King, this was Moss Charger, and this was Hornet. Like, it's so painstakingly obvious that these are in a way copy paste bosses. No offense to Team Cherry, like obviously it's hard to make a boss. I don't know if I could create a good boss, but like up until this point I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed in Silksong because I thought the bosses felt a little unimaginative. Like these two felt like remakes with environmental hazards, and Lace felt like Hornet with like one different move, right? So I don't really know how to rank these besides here. I think these are more fun than Moss Mother. I think Moss Mother's C tier. I don't think she's D tier. I think Lace and Bell Beast are fine. I think the lava around Lace is cool. The interaction with Lace is cool. And I also see here that there's not the second Lace fight on here. I think the second Lace fight is probably low A tier because it is a little bit more fun, a little bit more challenging. But I think the combination of Lace 1 and 2, I would put in probably a high B, low A tier. And after all that complaining, I will say we get to fourth chorus, who I immediately put to S tier. And this was kind of when the game went from good to great for me. Because like Silksong, I liked it up until this point, and then I fought the fourth chorus, and I was like, yo, this game is phenomenal. Because this was not only a cinematic fight, but it was just like a really cool, rewarding fight where you got your new ability, and you can actually utilize it in the fight to defeat the boss. Essentially encouraged it. It was intense. The music was like amazing. The atmosphere was amazing. There was foreshadowing because you ran past it on the way, and then on the way back you fought it. So and it kind of like, it's kind of startling on the way back if you're not really like if you don't know about it and you just like run on the way back, you're like, oh shit, and then you have to fight. And I don't know, I think it's a really cool fight. I think the way that I felt when I fought the fourth chorus was, I don't know, it was just really cool. You can fight it very simply, or you can fight it a little more like ambitious and like use the wind funnels. But yeah, overall, I think fourth chorus is an easy first S tier boss for me. And overall, I really enjoyed that fight, and I always enjoy that fight when I play the game again. Savage Beastfly. So this is another case where I don't see the second variation of the Savage Beastfly, and I don't really know where to put it because I fought Savage Beastfly really late Act 2, and because of this, I did not struggle with the first variation, and then the second variation, I did a little bit, but mostly because of the minions, not really because of the Savage Beastfly. Like the lava chucking ones that explode, like the exploding lava, like that's not really fun to deal with. I wouldn't say it's a fun fight. I wouldn't say it's an easy fight. I would argue Moss Mother, the 2.0, is way more fun than Savage Beastfly 2.0. There is that cool little Easter egg where you can jump up and knock like the lava block, the rock down to like kill it. And I actually did that on my playthrough, but I think I missed slightly. I don't know. It's weird. It's a odd fight. I wouldn't say I love it. I wouldn't say I had a ton of fun with it, but yeah, it's fine. It's a fine fight. Both of them, really. Skull Tyrant. Skull Tyrant kind of falls into that category again. Nothing really crazy to write home about. Relatively easy fight. I actually died to Skull Tyrant, but I think I literally just said to my chat, because I think I took maybe like a couple day break between fighting Skull Tyrant and wherever I was in the game, and I just genuinely wasn't prepared. And there was a point where I was just like, okay, let me lock in, and then the next attempt I beat Skull Tyrant. Like I don't think it's a hard fight. I don't think it's a very fun fight. I actually would argue Savage Beastfly takes more skill and it's a little more interesting. So maybe in that regard, I'd be like Skull Tyrant is less fun, but in a way at the same time, if we're talking just fun, maybe Skull Tyrant is more fun because you can turn your brain off a little, and sometimes turning your brain off is fun. Sister Splinter. I would put Sister Splinter at a B tier. I only fought her on my first playthrough, and ever since then I realized you can skip Sister Splinter, and now I don't really know how I feel because I haven't fought her again since my very first playthrough, and I don't think I really enjoyed it on my very first playthrough. But upon watching the video of me beating Sister Splinter, I think it's a cool fight. Like, I genuinely think it's a cool fight. I think it's fun in a way, but I think it is a little difficult. It's like the first time, like, in my opinion, you really have to use your dash a lot. Like these others, you don't have to dash a ton. This one, I feel like you have to dash. Like you have to run and really dodge, while also a lot of environmental hazards. I feel like that's the biggest takeaway from Silksong, is you need to be used to environmental hazards while playing, while fighting a boss. Like, I feel like I can't really think of a boss in Hollow Knight where I had a lot of environmental hazards besides maybe like Lost Kin with like the balloon ghosts. Like, those are annoying. Those are really frustrating. And I feel like they kind of upped the ante a lot on Silksong and made that part of almost every boss's kit. So yeah, Sister Splinter, probably B tier, low B tier. You can't turn your brain off. You definitely have to think things through. You definitely have to think about it. And overall, yeah, I think it's a fun fight, relatively. Widow. So Widow, I would put A tier. I think Widow's a really cool fight. The first time I struggled a lot with Widow. Upon replaying the game, I think Widow is very, very fun. It's a little hack and slashy, a little like run around and chaotic. And I think that energy is super fun. I think Widow is, I mean, it's a necessary boss. So every time you play the game, you have to fight Widow. And overall, I think it's cool. Like, I don't know. I think Widow's a cool fight. The bells are cool. The kind of animation where you can challenge Widow before the fight to like kind of make it faster. Oh, and the music too. The music's great with Widow as well. I think Widow's an easy A tier. I don't know if I'd put Widow in S, but definitely on the brink of like low S, high A. Definitely not a B tier character. Phantom is the same. It's like the same issue. I would put Phantom above Widow, and I'm really struggling not putting Phantom in S tier. And I think I might come the end of the video. But Phantom is just like such, again, a cinematic fight. Like, you know what? I am going to put Phantom in S tier. I think Phantom, the organ is so aura when you walk in, and then the fight itself is so cool. I fought Phantom very late Act 2, so I was a little overpowered, but overall, I think Phantom is a really fun fight and a really cool fight. And honestly, a very, like, kind of mystical, like, and yeah, pun intended, but like mystical fight in the sense that most people probably won't fight Phantom to get to Act 2. Like, 90% of players, I would argue, probably went to Last Judge to get to Act 2. But I would have felt so freaking cool if I had gotten to Phantom and that was my way to get to Act 2. Like, if that was you, let me know, because that is so sick. Like this, like the story of saying, oh, I got to Act 2 via Phantom and not Last Judge, not necessarily like on purpose because you knew about it, but like on accident. I think that's so sick. Because one, you had to traverse the mist, which sucks. But two, fighting Phantom in general is also pretty tough prior to Act 2. Like, I fought her late Act 2, and I still thought she was tough, but just overall, really cool fight. And oh my gosh, I don't know why, I just thought about the animation at the end. That's also so sick. I don't remember any other animation having that at the end. Plus, you get cross-stitch. Yeah, Phantom's easy S tier. I don't know why I even considered it. I'm sorry for the disrespect, Phantom, and I hope you'll forgive me. Next is Morwing. Morwing is weird. I think Morwing is B tier as far as fun goes. I wouldn't say Morwing is super fun. I wouldn't say Morwing is super difficult. I think Morwing is annoying. But I think once you learn the patterns for Morwing, and again, you could probably say that about any freaking boss on here. But once you learn the patterns, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, of course, once you learn the patterns. Every boss is easy once you learn the patterns. But no, for real, like Morwing, I think once you kind of figure it out, it's not the most exciting fight, but it's also not the most boring fight. And I think B tier is sufficient for Morwing. I wouldn't say, I don't know. I wouldn't throw Morwing in A tier. I wouldn't throw Morwing in C tier. I think B is appropriate. I think it's more fun than Bell, maybe below Bell Beast, above Sister Splinter. I think maybe that's fair. Yeah. And also, if you fight him with Garmon and Zaza, that's probably really fun too. I didn't have that. I actually declined Garmon and Zaza in my playthrough, but I think that would be kind of a cool little interaction as well. The Great Conchfly. So I actually think that's another easy A tier. I think the Great Conchfly is a really cool fight. I think it's very dance-like. It's kind of like, obviously there's another boss on here that's very much more Mantis Lordy, but this is very similarly in like it feels like a dance. The same thing happens over and over again. I will say the minions that it spawns, I forgot the name of them, they suck. I hate them, where they just like kind of auto lock on you. Those things are tough as hell. But the Great Conchflies themselves, I think the boss fight is actually really, really cool. And I think it's a ton of fun. The Last Judge. This one's tough too, because I struggled a ton with the Last Judge. And I saw online people hated the run back. I don't remember hating the run back that much. I thought the run back was actually kind of cool in a way. There is a little annoyance because, again, one of these little minions is in the way. But I think the Last Judge fight itself is fine. I think it's more fun than these. I think it's the first time you really interact with like a fire-based attack, if I'm not mistaken, out of all these. Like this one, you fall into lava. Savage Beastfly, you obviously fight the minions, but like if you fight Savage Beastfly 1, you don't fight the lava creating minions. So I feel like Last Judge with Magma Bell probably is pretty easy. I never caved and caught Magma Bell, so I struggled a lot. But ultimately, when I beat Last Judge, it was rewarding. Act 2 is rewarding to actually reach. Like, I just feel like the culmination of that is really cool. I think the music and the cinematics, again, behind the scenes of Last Judge is cool. And then the ending of Last Judge is cool, because if you're not paying attention, you die. So, I don't know. I think A tier is probably good. I think it's less fun than these two, more fun than Lace, so I think that's valid. Cogwork Dancers. Cogwork Dancers, I would give an easy S tier. I mean, if you're gonna think about your favorite fight from Hollow Knight, mine was easily the Mantis Lords. This is essentially the Mantis Lords, but a little bit more difficult, and in a way, but also easier in a way, because it's kind of like Sisters of Battle, kind of. I don't know. I don't even know how you'd compare it, but it's very similar. You know where they're attacking. You know it's like kind of up, down, or diagonal. And the ending is like heartbreaking. The ending is absolutely heartbreaking with the Cogwork Dancers. I don't know like how you guys felt when you fought the Cogwork Dancers for the first time, but the ending kind of broke my heart, and I kind of wanted to lose the fight. But yeah, the run back's not horrible. Overall, I think the Cogwork Dancers are a really cool fight, a really fun fight. I think the music's really good, and the ending just absolutely breaks your heart. Yeah, it sucks. I felt so bad. Okay, so I mean, if we're talking cinematics, and like icon, I feel like Trobio's the GOAT. The fight itself, I feel like, has a lot to be desired. Everything else around this fight is what promotes it to S tier, but the actual fight itself honestly makes me want to put it like in A tier, which I might do for Tormented Trobio. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get there, but I think Trobio's awesome. Obviously, I think the ending is hilarious when you can run back and he like scurries away and he's not actually dead. The whole thing where you can get his quill if you never got a quill. I don't know. I think they really cooked with this boss. I think the boss was really fun. But overall, I think S tier feels appropriate. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on Trobio, the actual fight. If you take the character and kind of the after effect of it. I don't know. He yells Trobio the entire time and it's hilarious. So it's like, you gotta love him for that. But if you just think about the fight itself, do you love the fight itself? Maybe I do. I don't know. I'm torn. I feel like it is an S tier just because of the icon nature of it all, but it's hard. It's a fun fight in a way. It's also not a fun fight in a way. I don't know. I'm torn. Cygnus and Gron, the Forge Brothers. I think this is another S tier fight. I think this was super fun. This was another case of I didn't use the Magma Bell, and then or whatever it's called, and then I started using the Magma Bell, and it made it night and day easier. I think this fight would be more fun without the minions. I feel like the minions are what make this fight so annoying. And honestly, like, because like the lava is cinematic, the brothers themselves are like so sick, and like it's fun to watch them. And I'm pretty sure you chase after one before you even get here. Like, all of that's really cool. But like the minions themselves, I feel like take away a little bit from the fight and like make it from like, I feel like it could be a fight that's like up here, but instead puts it down here just because the minions make the fight less fun and a little annoying, if that makes sense. Grohl the Great. Grohl. This one's tough. if we're speaking purely based off of how fun the fight is, I feel like I gotta put Grohl down here. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if you guys did, but I struggled with Grohl a lot. The run back sucks, and the fight itself is just tedious. Like, it's no part of me would say that Grohl is a hard fight, but it's more of a tedious fight. And if you even get like the Wreath of Purity, you can just like cheese the fight, and it's like even less fun. Like, there's environmental hazards, there's minions that are annoying to deal with, there's a gauntlet you have to beat before you even fight Grohl. Like, if we take the gauntlet before fighting Grohl out of the equation, this is like an F tier boss. Like, the boss is not fun. I don't know. I also don't like, I also want to point out, I don't hate Biowater. I also didn't hate the run back. I thought the run back was fun in a way, but I just felt like the boss felt so tedious. And I think I was underpowered when I fought Grohl the first few times. And then when I came back and fought him, I think I beat it first try. So it like, again, it's all determinant on like when you fight the boss. But yeah, overall, I think Grohl is deserving of a D tier like boss fight. I just don't find it fun. And I think I would rather fight any of the bosses above Grohl before fighting Grohl, if you include the gauntlet. The Unraveled, similar situation to Grohl. I was very underpowered when I fought the Unraveled. I think it's a really cool fight for where you are. Actually, I'll put it here. I think the difference between the Unraveled and Grohl the Great is that even though both kind of have like gauntlets, and Unraveled, you even have like a mini like minion fight in like the middle of the boss fight. But it's kind of cinematic in the fact that you're in White Ward, you're like down in like the depths, almost feels like a trash compactor, and you're fighting a boss fight in the dark. Like, something about that is really cool. The boss fight itself is really annoying. The hitbox of the Unraveled was very odd and frustrated me a lot. Like, I felt like I would like barely nick the cloak and take 2 hearts of damage. Like, that was really frustrating and not super fun. But the actual fight itself is pretty cool. It's cinematic, and yeah, I think a high C tier, maybe low B, is probably fitting for the Unraveled, just because of, I don't know, again, just because of the situation around the boss fight and not the boss fight itself. The Disgraced Chef Lugli. I hated this fight. And I mean, you can probably see a pattern here that it has to do a lot with the bile, the bile water. Same thing, kind of, that the chef spits out those little balls that infect you with the maggots or whatever it is, so you can't heal. And yeah, it's a really crappy fight. I hated this fight. I think this is probably the only boss fight I might have like kind of crashed out on stream. And yeah, or not even crashed out. I just got like so annoyed. And what annoyed me the most about it is like someone was like, "Oh, just pogo on him." And like I used the Wanderer's Crest, I pogoed, and like he went down like so fast. To the point where I was like, I literally, like, the fight ended and I'm like, I don't even know what I did differently or how I did so much damage so fast, to the point where like the boss fight was just over. And again, I didn't have the Wreath of Purity when I fought him. I did the second time fighting Grohl. I did not fighting Chef Lugli, and maybe if you do, it's a lot easier, right? I will say it's kind of funny. I'll put him above Grohl maybe, because he does just kind of chuck his butt at you, and I think that is kind of funny. But everything else about this fight sucks, and I kind of hate it. First Sinner. This fight is awesome. This is probably the best fight, in my opinion, in the entire game. We'll have to go through the rest of them, and like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think this fight was so cool. I'm pretty sure I fought this fight like under leveled, and I still like, I don't know, it was so fun. I think it took me 2 or 3 attempts, and on that second or third attempt, like, I got to phase 3 and I didn't realize it. And so there's like literally, there's a clip of me going, "Oh wow, we did it, guys! What the?" And and it's just like startling. And then you get like the rune rage afterwards, and I don't know. It's such a cool fight. It's dark. It's the first time you kind of see like Grandmother Silk's attacks. in a way. First Sinner heals technically, which is cool. Like that's a cool concept that they threw into a boss. And so like overall, I don't know. I think First Sinner is a really cool fight. I think the way that you get there is really cool. I think kind of the story around the First Sinner is really cool. So yeah, I feel like that's a really good S tier, and I'm struggling to think if there's a boss fight I like more than the First Sinner. But yeah, that's where I'd put her. It's so good. Such a good fight. Kragler. So I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even consider Kragler a boss fight. I'd probably put it low C tier, maybe even D tier. Like it's just tedious. Like if you fight it early enough, it's very tedious. If you fight it late enough, it's still tedious. Like nothing like super fun about this fight. And I'm struggling to find anything good about the fight. Like at least the Lug chef, I can say like, oh hey, he chucks his butt at you, so that's kind of funny. Like Kragler, I don't know if I can say anything positive about this fight. It's genuinely just tedious, which is the same I feel about Grohl, except you don't have Bile Water. So maybe it's better in a way. Father of the Flame, is it a fun fight? Father of the Flame is tough. I think it's okay. Father of the Flame is interesting. I think it's a C tier. I don't think it's a D tier. I think it's a cool fight because you're in a hidden area you probably didn't know existed until you got to this boss. Essentially, if you're anything like me, you got to this boss accidentally looking for fleas, and that's the only reason you found it. It's not a really tough fight, but it's not an easy fight. I fought him pretty late Act 2. I don't know. I think it's fine. Is it more fun than the Savage Beastfly? Definitely not more fun than the first one. I think the Savage Beastfly's patterns are more fun. I just feel like this isn't fun. This is like stress mixed with like, because you don't get Silk back. Yeah, I feel like that's fair. I think it's low C tier, not quite D tier. Carmelita is sick. Carmelita is like aura, right? Like that's the definition of aura. Like that's such a cool fight. Even though there is a gauntlet, the gauntlet kind of sucks beforehand. Well, actually no, the gauntlet doesn't even suck. The gauntlet's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. But then Carmelita itself as a boss, like she's a badass, right? Like she kicked my butt. But she's super fun. Like in a way, she's super fun. I enjoyed learning. I enjoyed getting better. And I think that was the first time I really like had to utilize my tools properly to beat a boss, maybe. Probably not, but like that was definitely a time I remember going, okay, I need to use the tools properly to beat this boss and win. And yeah, I think Carmelita is a sick fight. I think she's probably no, I won't say that, but she's a cool fight. And it was never I lost to Carmelita and felt frustrated. It was like I lost to Carmelita and felt like I had to get better. Like that's genuinely how I felt like I was being trained. And so that's a really cool feeling when you fight a boss. Voltworm. Probably here, maybe. I don't know, down here. Maybe down here. It's a stupid fight, right? Again, this is a situation where I'm like, do I classify this as a boss fight? Is it fun? No, but is it kind of cool? I mean, you could argue it is a little fun. Actually, yeah, I would argue it's fun in a way because it's very much a hack and slash, go as fast as you can, avoid these sparks, and that's it, right? I don't really know. Like, it's kind of turn your brain off, but also not turn your brain off. It's definitely the easiest boss of Act 3. Voltworm's tough because, like, on the one hand, it's a stupid boss, but on the other hand, it is fun in a way. Would I rather fight the Voltworm than Father of the Flame? Probably. Savage Beastfly? Probably. Skull Tyrant? No, at least that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that makes sense. Raging Conchfly. Honestly, it's the Great Conchflies, but it's one of them, and he's on steroids. I think it was super fun. I think it's a lot harder than this fight, but I think it's super fun. I think the run back kind of sucks, but ultimately it's a pretty sick fight. Like it is. You feel good when you beat it. It's how you get to Crust King Khan. I don't know. I think it's a cool fight. Is it better than Widow? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is super fun. I mean, I think all these are super fun. Like I would argue I would fight any of these guys again just for the hell of it, because it would be fun. Like, I want to refight these guys just to do it again. Second Sentinel, I would put high A tier. I fought Second Sentinel very late Act 3. And I was very overpowered. But I saw the vision. And I saw how Second Sentinel probably could be considered a really fun boss fight. So, I don't know. I need to try it again when I'm only in Act 2 and I'm a little underpowered. But overall, I think Second Sentinel's cool in a way. I think it's cool how you have to like kind of track him down and then, or her down, I don't know. But you have to track them down and then eventually you find them. And then they're like, oh, find me here, find me there. And then they're like, I want to fulfill my mission, slay me. And you're like, no. And then you fight and I don't know. It's a cool fight. I think it's cool. Maybe it's below Lace. But like Lace 1, definitely below. Lace 2, definitely above. So it's tough with this. But I don't have Lace 2 as an option, so I'm putting Lace 1 there. Broodmother. Broodmother kind of sucks. It's not super fun. I'd probably put it above Savage Beastfly. I think the issue with Broodmother, very similar to Trader Lord. I don't know if you guys kind of picked this up. But it's very similar to Trader Lord, and that is that you're in a very cramped space. While it does a lot of movement and it does a lot of damage. Like Trader Lord in the Pantheon, very easy. Trader Lord in the actual Hollow Knight game, kind of difficult because you're in a cramped space and you probably also have Cloth fighting with you. So it feels like a lot's going on when you don't have a lot to work with, if that makes sense. Broodmother feels very similar. Obviously, it's Gruzmother again, but a lot more difficult. Yeah, I wouldn't say Broodmother is super fun, but I would say she's probably more fun than Savage Beastfly, Father of the Flame, yada, yada, yada. Bell Eater, I would put down here. Bell Eater I struggled with, so obviously I'd put it lower. But, like, that's not to say, like, I struggled with Last Judge, and Last Judge is up here. I struggled with Carmelita's up here. The reason Bell Eater annoyed me is I think it took me, like, 4 or 5 attempts still. Probably 5 or 6, actually, closer to that. But Bell Eater annoyed me just because, it felt tedious. Like, when a boss fight feels tedious, that is when I don't think it's fun. And that is when I rank it very low. For me to, like, come away from that fight thinking, oh, this felt very tedious, I'm not going to rank it very high. Like, it's always going to be lower on my tier list. It's going to be a D tier. Yeah, I have nothing good to say about it except you rescue the Bell Beast and all the Beastlings. And it's very cute. It's very, very cute. And I would do it 100 times over. Because I would die for the Bell Beast, but I also hate the Bell Eater. I don't know. The fight just feels tedious. It feels tedious. It feels long. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Plasmified Zango. Again, I don't consider them a boss. Like, I don't even know where to rank them because I didn't fight them like a boss. I literally fought them to get the plasma vial or whatever it was to get it filled. Like, I genuinely left the room and came back. I think it's the only boss fight besides the Kragler that you can actually do that. I'm trying to think. Is there any other boss fight you can actually just leave? I guess Skull Tyrant you can technically leave. I mean, I guess a lot of them you technically, like, Fourth Course you can technically leave. I don't know. Plasmified Zango, not fun. Nothing to write home about. I don't know. It's weird that they consider it a boss. Tormented Trobio. I feel like they were going for like the Nightmare King Grim energy. Like it literally went from red to purple. Isn't that NKG? Isn't that like very similar colored patterns again? The music's good. He says Trobio a lot. I don't know. Maybe I was a little underwhelmed because it was the same fight, but kind of purple. Like, am I crazy to think that it's the same fight, but just maybe a smidge faster? I don't know. I think the OG one from Act 2 is iconic. I feel like this one, I don't know. I don't know why. I didn't love it as much. I still think it's a fun fight. It's a cool fight. And I love that it, like he says, Drobio, right? But overall, I think it's still like a lower A tier fight. But I mean, the guy's iconic, right? Trobio's iconic. We all love Trobio. Kruskin Khan. This is a sick fight. This is probably my favorite Act 3 fight. I'm scanning. Yes. I believe this is my favorite Act 3 fight. It's so cool. Like, take away the gauntlets, which I know probably annoyed a lot of people, and just picture the final fight where you actually go up 1v1 against Crust King Khan. It is a cool fight. It is cinematic. It is, like, I don't know. It's really engaging and fun. A lot of environmental hazards, but he creates them, so it's not just like, oh, they're there. Like, sometimes the environmental hazards, I felt like, oh, they're just there, or like there's minions and they're just there. But this is the first one where I'm like, oh, he summoned these environmental hazards. Like, he did this. And I don't know. I felt like it's a really cool fight. I felt like I had a ton of fun fighting him. Again, I didn't struggle with him a lot, so maybe that's a part of the reason why I liked him more. I feel like that always plays a factor. But yeah, I just think super duper fun fight. Very, very cool, like, kind of story to get there. And like, you got to go through all the gauntlets. And then luckily you can open up the shortcut. So yeah, Crust King Khan, really, really cool fight. Honestly, I'd probably put him above Trobio. Yeah, I'd put him above Trobio. I think I like that. I like that order. The Shrine Guardian Seth. So if you watch the stream, you know, and I'm looking at the list, I'm looking at everybody. This is probably the fight I struggled with the most. But it's a really cool fight. And obviously the story behind the character, the creation, everything about it is really, really cool. But the fight itself, oh my gosh, is this fight difficult? It is so difficult. You can play it patiently and it still feels difficult. But hell, is it not rewarding when you actually beat... Like, sometimes it's difficult and it doesn't feel rewarding, right? This one, Seth, I would argue, feels very rewarding when you beat him. It feels very much like he is a guardian and he's putting his all into protecting Nihilith, right? So because of that, I think Seth easily becomes a B tier. High B tier, low A tier. Just, it's a cool fight. It's a tough fight, but I think he deserves it. I think he really deserves it. And then speaking of Seth in the shrine, we have Nihilith. Nihilith is tough. If I'm looking at this, Nihilith, I think goes here. I think Nihilith, we'll go here, because Lace 2. Lace 2 brings Lace above Nihilith. Nihilith is really cool in the sense that you're kind of floating the entire fight. And maybe, actually, I will put Nihilith up here because of that. I think Nihilith is... You know what? Actually, screw it. I'll put Nihilith up in 8. I'll put Nihilith right below Carmelita. How about that? I think Nihilith is a cool fight. I genuinely do. I think it's a cool fight. I think trying to fight a boss while not touching the ground is kind of new. Is there another boss on here like that? I don't think so, right? Like, you're pretty much always touching the ground in every fight you do, or you're running of some sort. This is the first one where you truly, like, hopefully you have clean grip on. Hopefully, like, you're good on the wall. You use your wall dashes. You pogo. You dash. You use your claw line. Like, I feel like it really forces you to think a little differently than some of the other boss fights. And you know what? Hell, I'll put it above Carmelita. I think it's a cool fight. I think it's a fun fight. I would gladly do it again just to try it out because I think it genuinely is a really cool fight in a way. Yeah, I don't know. Nihilith is tough to describe. I also beat Nihilith on the second try, so maybe that has something to do with it. But again, I don't know. I think Nihilith is... It's a cool idea, right? Pale Stag. Pale Stag is kind of boring. Nothing to write home about. It's kind of a cool fight in a way, but also not. Maybe I put it above Sister Splinter. I don't know. It's tough. I think that's appropriate for Pale Stag. I essentially beat Pale Stag only claw lining, and I don't know. It was fine. like nothing to write home about. It was a fine fight. More fun than these guys probably. Less fun. More fun than Sister Splinter. More fun than Morwing. Yeah, that feels better. Clover dancers. So clover dancers are weird. They are essentially cogwork dancers, but easier. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but I felt like clover dancers were much easier than cogwork dancers, and probably the easiest boss of Act 3. If you don't count Voltworm. Like, if you don't count Voltworm, clover dancers were definitely the easiest fight of Act 3, I believe. If I'm looking at this. Yeah, I think so. So, their easy fight, it's kind of a sad fight. It's also still cogwork dancers, and cogwork dancers are an S tier, but for some reason, I didn't feel like it. I guess similar to Tormented Trovio, where like I didn't feel like it was S tier of a fight. And it kind of felt like it was just the same fight, right? Like it genuinely was just the same fight. I don't know. It's hard. It's probably more fun than that just because of the minions. But yeah, it's hard for me to put it any higher than this just because the Clockwork Dancers is such a peak fight. Like the story behind this one is obviously better. And like the theme around it and the idea behind it. But like, it's kind of like the ending of Clockwork Dancers when you're just sad, but the entire fight, and it's not very difficult. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thought. And speaking of sad, we have Lost Garmon, and I don't know. This was, I mean, this is probably the biggest heartbreak of Silksong. I don't, it's painful. It hurts your heart. Like, I'm putting it at the bottom of D tier just out of respect because I never want to fight Lost Garmon again and feel the way that I felt afterwards. It made me sad, and I don't think I've ever felt that way about a video game about bugs. Even the original Hollow Knight, I don't know if it got me that sad, but yeah, that was a low. So I'm putting it at the bottom of D tier out of respect because I never want to do that fight again. The Pinstress. I'm gonna be honest, this fight kind of sucks. I don't know if anybody's high and mighty on the Pinstress fight, but I think the Pinstress fight is kind of booty. Is it better than Father of the Flame? Maybe. This one's close. I'm going to put it low C tier just because for the fact that it's a Act 3 boss fight. And the Pinstress kind of reminds me of like a Oro and Mato type of situation where it's like you're fighting one of the Nail Masters, but you're fighting one of the Pin Masters, I guess. I just personally felt like Pinstress was very underwhelming, but I also felt like the boss fight just isn't fun. I love the Mount Faye area. I think that area is super cool. I love the climb to get the double jump. But even though the fight was on Mount Faye and she's sleeping in the snow and you have to wake her, that part's silly. But like the fight itself is just really boring. Like it's genuinely just, it's boring. You have to just, it's a game of patience. And I feel like the game of patience is just not super fun. And it's not even like intricate dodging for the patience. I don't know. It's a weird thought. It's a weird, like it felt tedious, but like not quite Bell Eater tedious. So yeah, I feel like low C tier is, I don't know. I feel valid in that. Gur the Outcast. Gur is tough. I feel like Gur, I don't remember struggling with this fight, and I don't really remember the fight at all. Is that weird to say? Like I genuinely don't remember this fight. I feel like it's a low B tier maybe. I don't know. Like it's hard for me to even remember Gur the Outcast, and maybe because of that it should go down here. Like it's not a fun fight. Maybe I'll even put it here. Like, if I don't even remember the fight, was it fun? But again, if you beat a boss on your first try, maybe it's like, it's hard to remember. But I beat a couple of these on my first try and I still remember them. I don't know. It's tough. I don't really have anything good or bad to say about Gur, so I'll put him mid C tier. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what to do. I think that's appropriate. Lost Lace. So this might be a hot take. I think Lost Lace is low A tier, high B tier. Is it more fun? Yes, more fun. No, honestly. Well, okay, if you take the minions out, it's more fun. If you keep the minions in, Lost Lace is probably more fun. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I think Lost Lace, being the penultimate boss in this game, has the aura similarly to the Radiance in a way. Obviously, the exact opposite, considering you fight like the sun god in a way, and in this one you're fighting a kind of black voided lace, right? So in a way, I think it's a really cool ending, but I think the boss fight, being a boss that you've already fought twice, just being a little on steroids with void nature and void attacks, is a little underwhelming. I don't think it's an easy fight, but I just don't think I had as much fun as I did in some of these other fights. And I would almost argue Lace 2 is more fun than Lost Lace, in a way. I think where you fight kind of in that cradle area is cooler than fighting in the... Nah, that's sick. Let's be real. That is sick. It's a cool fight where you're fighting, but I don't know. It's something about the fight that I'd probably enjoy. Well, hold on. I'm really, like, remembering moments of the fight. It is cool. Like the fight itself is cool. Maybe there. Okay. I convinced myself to put it a little bit higher. I just feel like it's not an S tier fight, and I feel like I would really want the penultimate fight to be an S tier fight, and it's just not. Speaking of a penultimate fight, low B tier. Watcher at the Edge. Kind of cool, kind of underwhelming. Like a very, very big game of patience. But also kind of cool in a way. Like he's just kind of standing there aura farming, and then you walk up on him and he's like, I'm gonna attack you. And then he like hides in the sand and he dives in the sand. It's a cool fight. You're kind of on the edge of nowhere. I don't know. I like to think that he's watching over Farloom, and then like invaders from other bug civilizations don't come in. I don't know. I don't know the lore around Watcher at the Edge, but I think it's cool. I think he's a cool character. Them, she, it, her, him, whatever Watcher at the Edge is. I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of aura, but like, I don't know. Maybe above Morwing, or maybe there. I think that's fair. And then very similarly is Crawfather. I think the gauntlet with the Craws kind of sucks. I think the fighting Craws in general in this game is not super fun. It's probably one of my least favorite enemies to fight besides the Sinner's Road, like dog creatures. Those things are terrifying. But Crawfather, yeah, I don't know. It's not a hard fight, or it wasn't. I had poison tax, which made it very, very easy in a way too. I think kind of how he summons you, the cross summon is kind of cool, and then you get the nest that you can put up and you get rosaries. I think all of that part is really, really cool, and I appreciate that. But I think the fight itself is fine. I think it's fine. I think there's a lot to be desired, and yeah, overall, I think solid low B tier fight. Yeah, I think I'd have it here. I don't know if I'm seeking to fight the Crawfather again. And then last but not least, the penultimate villain of the entire game, Grandmother Silk. This is a tough one, because part of me wants to put GMS in S tier. Silk tier. I was going to say Silk tier. Part of me wants to put Grandmother Silk in S tier, and part of me wants to put her like mid A tier. I think it's a cool fight. I'm going to put her in S tier. I think what I like about it is everything that I like about First Sinner, but like less. Like I like First Sinner. I like the, you call them nails or needles. I guess they're needles, right? Like I think that aspect of First Sinner is much more fun than Grandmother Silk. I also think First Sinner is more fast paced. I feel like Grandmother Silk's a little slow. I will say, I think Grandmother Silk is more fun when you're cursed. Like, I genuinely believe that. I think trying to do Grandmother Silk no hit while you're cursed is much more fun than doing regular Grandmother Silk. I just think regular Grandmother Silk is a little tedious in a way, but also kind of cool. And it's like the aura is cool, the cinematics are cool, like the rocks falling, the kingdom collapsing, Act 1 cursed, or sorry, not Act 1, but like ending 1 and then cursed ending, and then Act 3 begin ending, whatever you call that. I think all of those are like really cool. Like the different cinematics they have around that are very cool. But again, I could make an argument that maybe she goes below Widow and Widow goes to S tier and Widow's more fun. Or maybe Raging Conchfly is more fun and the Conchflies are more fun than Widow as well. I don't know. Maybe I like that more. I don't know. Maybe it's silly. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm crazy. But like I would fight both of these guys again. Like I really enjoyed both of these fights, and then I would really fight all these guys again too. Like at the end of the day, right? This is a tier list. It's very subjective, and at the end of the day, I think all of these fights, A tier to S, so S tier, A tier, all of these I think are very, very fun fights. I would gladly do them again. I would gladly train them again, and I think they're just very fun overall. I think B tier, they're fights that I would do and I would have fun doing, but I don't necessarily would seek them out. C tier, I would do, but I wouldn't be like super happy about it. It's just more so like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever, I'll do it. And then D tier, I actively would hate doing that fight again. Like it's not fun. Which maybe Kragler goes here, right? Because Kragler is easy, but dumb. Like it's just a dumb, tedious fight. So maybe it's like there. Maybe that's more appropriate. Like I actively don't want to fight these bosses because I don't enjoy them. And I could make an argument Pinterest would go down here too. Like I feel like I could easily make an argument for Pinterest not being a fun fight that I don't want to do again because I just don't have fun with it. But I would put it here because maybe there's something I just didn't catch the first time that I would enjoy more the second. So with that being said, I think this is it. I think this is my final Silksong tier list about genuinely how fun I felt each fight was. I would love to hear in the comments whether you agree or disagree. This took a while. This recording took over an hour to do. I didn't realize how many bosses there were in Silksong or how much I had to say about each one. But overall, I love this game. It genuinely felt like a masterpiece. I think I might have liked it more than the first game. I don't know. Still to be determined. I love both of them. I love this universe that Team Cherry created. I cannot thank them enough for creating this game because it brought me a lot of joy playing it. I met a lot of great people playing it, and the community itself is just very wonderful, and I can't thank it enough. So that being said, let me know who you thought was the most fun boss in Hollow Knight Silksong. I would love to hear your opinions. I would love to hear your thoughts on also maybe who you thought was the hardest or the easiest, anything in general. I would love to talk about this game more with anybody and everybody. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.